We've got more news from the Elizabeth Holmes trial. Now, if you've been living under a rock, Holmes is the former CEO of biotech startup Theranos. She and her former chief operating officer, Ramesh Balwani, are facing trial at the moment for defrauding investors, doctors, and patients. I'm a software developer with over 20 years in tech. And lately, despite the fact that I make technology for a living, I keep finding myself wanting to use less and less of it. So I call myself TechPhobe here on YouTube, where I call out problems within my industry. If you're as concerned as I am, then hit like, hit subscribe, and turn on your notifications because I wouldn't want you to miss a video. So here we go. Dr. Adam Rosendorf, a former lab director at Theranos, took the stand in order to answer questions from the prosecution. Now, according to an Ars Technica article that dropped today, he explained that in anticipation of a visit from state inspectors who certify labs for Medicare, Balwani had told employees that no one was to go into or out of the lab that contained the company's proprietary Edison devices. The court also saw an email from Holmes in which she asked an employee, "Let me know if the path for walking the auditors in and downstairs has been cemented so we avoid areas that cannot be accessed and what that path is." During visits by state inspectors, labs are legally obligated to grant inspectors access to all areas under the certificate. And while it doesn't appear that Holmes or Balwani barred inspectors from those rooms, keeping the doors shut certainly made it less likely that they would ask to see what's inside. Typically during inspections, company employees are supposed to show inspectors what they asked for. So I think one of the reasons the Theranos scandal is such big news, especially within the tech world, is that unfortunately startups like Theranos are the rule, not the exception. For as long as I can remember, we've had a term in our industry to describe inventions that are being sold to investors that just don't exist or that the company doesn't know how to make exist. Vaporware. And I have no problem believing that it's normal for CEOs to lie to investors all the time, because I've experienced CEOs looking me directly in the eye and lying straight to my face. Now, that doesn't mean there aren't a lot of good CEOs and some really great startups out there. It's just that this idea of fake it until you make it that Theranos embodied, it's just really, really common. Earlier this year, for example, Forbes published an article about companies outsourcing to contractors things that were purportedly being accomplished by innovations in artificial intelligence. The article even says more broadly, it isn't unheard of, though, for companies in the tech industry to fake some part of their services, especially when they're starting out. The Theranos case is even more serious because they weren't just lying to investors, but they were lying to doctors and patients about lab test results, which in some cases led to doctors making the wrong medical call. Back to the Ars Technica article, a patient on blood thinners reported bruising and feeling off after a medication change following a Theranos test. Her doctor had increased the dosing of her blood thinner in response to test results provided by Theranos. I've not felt right since the one increased dose, and also experienced various skin bruising on my legs and arms almost immediately after the one dose increase. As we become more and more dependent on advanced technology, it's crucial that we hold the industry to a high standard. In December 2018 and March 2019, 346 people died in 2 Boeing 737 MAX plane crashes that were caused by software glitches. There have been multiple reports of Tesla's self-driving cars crashing when on autopilot when people were in them. We've hit the point where mistakes in tech can cost lives. And this isn't to mention that we do our banking online and we're starting to do some of our healthcare online too. We trust tech companies to handle our money and an insane amount of our private and personal information. We should expect nothing short of excellence. And the tech industry should expect nothing short of excellence from itself. So when a startup says they've built a medical device, and it turns out to be nothing more than half-baked vaporware that causes people to make mistakes with their health because it gave them shit results, there needs to be consequences. We can't be okay with cheap, plastic, Walmart tier tech when the stakes are as high as they are today.